I'm Sophie and I'm 49 years old. So at 40 years old, I had something called a spinal cord stroke, which is where a blood clot goes through your spinal cord. It's very rare and they have no idea why. I was on holiday in Malta when it happened, so I wasn't in the UK and had to get airvac'd back to London. What people don't know about being disabled is that you are asked what happened to you almost every day, sometimes 5 times a day. So if I'm getting in a cab, the black cab driver will just literally turn around, "Sorry love, do you mind me asking what happened to you?" I've told the story over and over and over again. So it doesn't often feel like I'm talking about that day anymore or me anymore. It feels really distant. But then other times it is like someone asking you, "Tell me about the worst day of your life." I booked us into a really stunning hotel in Valletta, found the restaurant that I booked, had a really lovely meal. Just as we asked for the bill, I started having excruciating chest pains and really felt like I couldn't breathe. It felt like there was a needle being pushed through my sternum. We rushed to A&E, and when I was in A&E, a lot of things happened, amongst really not being taken seriously at all. At some point, I started not being able to feel my left foot and my left leg, and the numbness just came up slowly, further up and up my left leg, and then up and up my right leg. And the panic in me of not understanding what was happening, and the slowly losing the feeling and movement and sensation of your lower body is just very, very frightening. And I felt completely, utterly out of control. And then I'd been told what happened by the doctor, that I was never going to walk again. And then the next call was like, I have to tell my parents. So I'd just been told this information, but all I had to do was cope with everybody else's reaction to it.
Quite obviously, the stroke has affected the whole family and changed relationships to a certain degree.
And then when they arrived in the hospital, Mum comes in, so together, such a positive ball of energy. "I'm here, I've got you, I'm with you." But Dad, he was utterly devastated. He kept having to go out of the room because he didn't want to cry in front of me and try and keep it together for me. I just feel so utterly grateful for having 2 incredibly strong parents who were there for each other and knew that they came closer together for each other and for me and for the relationship that we have.
Should be good at rugby.
And I've got a gorgeous niece and nephew who often, bring up my spirits and keep me going and put a smile on my face. My niece is coming into being a teenager, and when she was with me, I'd be like, oh God, are you embarrassed about being seen with me in a wheelchair? She was like, why? Why would I think that? No, of course not. Like, it wasn't even on her radar. My nephew is younger and he's so cute. I was having a conversation with my mum and he caught the back end of it where I said, you know, it's because I'm disabled. And he looked up and he said, what? You're disabled? Nobody told me. I was like, I've only been disabled your entire life. What do you think I was doing in a wheelchair? You know, my brother's amazing because, you know, he spent a lot of the initial time that he spent with me making jokes, and he would empty my catheter bag of urine and say that he always took the piss out of me. So nothing changes. You're not gonna thrive without people around you. I'm extremely lucky to have an incredibly tight-knit and supportive family. Before I was disabled, I was a very active person, very busy, always doing Pilates at the gym, running around, very busy with work and socially. Yeah, just a very busy life.
Sophie is a very sociable person, and as a baby she was always very social with other children and interacted well with adults. When she was leaving the hospital, I asked personnel at the hospital what happens next, and they said to me that a lot of people go home and they never move off the sofa. And I said, well, that's not going to happen with Sophie. She's not like that.
It's been 8.5 years since my stroke, and I'm a very different person now. It doesn't happen overnight. You feel yourself adapting and sliding into a new person.
We're very proud of Sophie and the way that she has coped.
You don't know how resilient and strong you are until you are tested. And I think if you'd asked me how I would cope being in pain constantly, with bladder infections constantly, sitting down, being disabled, being paralysed, I think I probably would have told you I wouldn't be here. I don't think I would have any faith that I'd be able to cope in this situation. And I think most people look at disabled people and think, yeah, I don't know how you do it. I wouldn't be able to do it. But the truth is, the will to live and the will to survive is in all of us so much stronger than you ever realise. And we are all so much more resilient than we give ourselves credit for, no matter whoever you are.